Welcome to the OmniDog and OmniCat review show. I'm OmniDog, and this is OmniCat, also known as Kristen. Kristen, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Always
Yeah,
happy to be able to do a show with you.
definitely. We got to represent all the animals, you know?
That's right. I'm a dog person, you're a cat person. We've got it covered.
I mean, I love dogs too, though. Who doesn't?
Yeah, dogs are awesome.
Yeah.
Ryan Sace just got a new dog, and I'm really happy for him.
Oh, I saw. She's so cute.
She is cute.
So cute.
She's a dash hound. Those are so cunning.
The best.
Um, so today we are going to talk about the books we read, and I was going to review a really weird book, but it's so weird I can't find it. I don't know where I put it. But I read plenty of other things, and it's a good thing because I couldn't explain it. I don't even I mean I can tell you about it. It was called The Unsound by Cullen Bunn, and I don't know where I put it. I must have just shelved it back somewhere, but I can't explain it. It's all about a woman showing up in a crazy nursing care home where everybody's crazy and things go crazy, and I'm never sure what's real or not. And I think it might be picked up by somebody to make a movie of or something, but it's never grounded in any kind of reality. So it's just one big Grant Morrison psychedelic weird fest. So I just couldn't. I can't.
So it was weird and crazy, but did you still like it?
Well, no, because I would say it's the only Cullen Bunn book that I really didn't care for that much. It's called The Unsound. It was never grounded in reality, so I could tell what was real and wasn't real. It was all nutty, and so it was just confusing to me. But I love everything else he's written, and I've got The Dark Ark up next for me to read, which I heard was really good. So this may be a case of it being on me. It's my problem for not understanding the work. I always take the hit when I don't understand a work. I just didn't get it.
Well, I've read one book of his I really didn't like.
Oh, what was that?
It was Blossom 666, which is about the creepy twins from Archie.
I haven't read that.
I said creepy. I mean, in the book, they were like part of a cult, and I was like, oh, interested. But then the ending, I'm just going to spoil the whole ending, guys. So if you want to watch, read it, go ahead. This isn't really a spoiler, but it ended with, it was literally something like, the end, ... or is it? And I was like, really? Oh. This is what we're doing? That's what's happening right now? Oh, it was terrible. I was so mad.
Well, I don't want this to turn into a Cullen Bunn bash fest because I love him. And I love all his books.
Stuff's great.
So. Oh, and Taylor Brown is what a champ Taylor Brown is. He's at Baby Gap now trying to watch this video on low volume. Shout out to Baby Gap. He has a baby that is dressed in like nothing but Batman uniforms.
Oh.
So why don't you, since I started off by saying what I'm not going to preview, why don't you start us off and review something really good
that I'm actually going to talk about? All right, here we go. So this book was crazy in a good way, though, and I really liked it. And it is called Witchy. I've been looking forward to this, as you see up here. Maybe you can tell, maybe you can't. Noelle Stevenson, who wrote Nimona, which I adored, she blurbed it and loved it. So I was immediately like, I'm in. Like, I care about those things. If it's someone I liked and they're like, hey, read it, I'll read it. So this was really fun. It was a fantasy adventure about witches. That's why it's called Witchy.
Ooh, I like witches.
Yeah. I will say, before I even get into this says Witchy right here. On the side, it does say Volume 1, but this is not made clear anywhere here. So I went into this thinking it was one and done, and I was creeping closer to the end, like, how are they going to wrap this up? Yeah, it's a Volume 1, so just heads up. Don't get confused like I did.
Oh.
Which is good, though. I'm looking forward to more of it. So, in this universe, your abilities as a witch kind of correlate with your hair length, which was an odd concept, but so you can see there's a lot of hair shots in this. So this main character we have here, she actually has incredibly long hair, but doesn't have great witch powers. So that's actually a unique thing in her universe. People don't know her hair is so long. She uses a spell to kind of mask her hair. So you see right here, it's actually short. And so all of her classmates, because she's going to like a witch school, kind of make fun of her because she has really short hair. And suddenly, this is kind of when it was revealed that she actually had long hair. It was a whole thing. There's a lot of hair talk right now, but and it is a weird concept. But the more I read it, the more it kind of made sense. So at the beginning, we also see, it's not a spoiler because it immediately happens, her father had like the longest hair in the land, but the like witches that kind of governed the city kind of thought him as a threat because of that, because he was so powerful and his hair was so long that they ended up killing him, which is terrible. Yeah, so her family kind of has a mark on them, and she's kind of targeted because of that later on and has to deal with that, and that's a whole terrible thing. So she goes on a whole adventure, but has to run away from like this evilness of the land, and she's also in school though and just doesn't want people to know about her hair, so she ends up chopping off her hair. That's a cool shot. She chops it all off. She's like, forget this, which is a big like no in this land. It's a horrible thing for her to do, but she does it because she's so mad. So that's what's really cool about that, is she's kind of breaking all of the stereotypes of this land and is like, I want to do what I want. And then there's this whole history with her family, and her mom's really powerful too. This is her mom. She's really cool. So there's a lot of badass women throughout this, which I love. And even though the hair thing's kind of like silly, again, it just, something about it kind of works. And I became very interested in the great world building. There's talking crows. You gotta love that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I love this art. It's so magical and colorful, and I don't know, the whole story was really unique with really unique characters, and I really loved, there's like really like buff women throughout this, and just different like types of women and people that you don't usually see in books, which I loved. So just really strong characters and great world building. And I got to the end and I was like, oh no, how long do I have to wait? I want more. So I highly recommend this if you like fantasy, if you like witches.
It looks pretty thick.
Yeah, it's a good size.
Yeah, it's chunky.
Yeah, it's chunky, but it's shorter. So, looks like about 300 pages or so. Yeah, that is Witchy. I loved it, and I had a good time. If you like Nimona and things like that, you'll probably like this.
Cool. That sounds right up my alley, and also up Hayden McGee's alley, who's cursing you.
Oh, yeah.
He's on a witch spiral.
Please get it. I think you'll definitely like it, Hayden, for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like something I'd be interested in, too. I have something similar. It's I borrowed it from Hoopla.
Oh.
I know, fancy. And it's something that Faria recommended called Exorsisters. Have you read this?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it. I'll have to get on a Hoopla.
Yeah. There's a question from Iman. Who wrote Witchy?
Oh, Ariel Slamet Rees. Never heard of her, but I love this.
Okay.
And I believe it was, is this Lionforge? I can't tell because stickers from the library. That's where I got it. Oh yeah, Lionforge did this.
Okay. Mine's Exorsisters. And since I'm doing this from my iPad, everything's going to be backwards. This is about a girl whose mother sold the girl's soul, and she grew up to be like a teenager, but by that, and gained the right to get her soul back. But by that time, her soul was too old to be put back in her body. So she has a twin that is her soul that has extra powers, and they both have extra powers. And this is, you can see the art is very bright and colorful, and they solve mysteries. And here they are on the scene. The soul is like an alcoholic that shows up. You can see her right there showing up and drinking all the champagne at the wedding that just got blown out because the groom got taken to hell by a demon, and she's eating all the cake and stuff like that. So it's really funny and fun with really beautiful artwork that I really liked. And it deals with these two going out and solving mysteries. And come on, and they have to feed. Let's see, what is this? They feed the fires of hell. They're called Harrow and Harrow, but they have to feed this thing in the tank constantly, or else like bad things happen. And they're finding magic portals everywhere and going into them and exploding out of them. And this thing is just a blast. They deal with all kinds of demons, all kinds of hell creatures, wherever they end up going. And as you can see, here's a demon that got cursed into thinking he was a little girl, and he's having a tea party.
I love that.
I know. Yeah, that's Asvedel, a demon lord. He tried possessing a little girl, but got distracted and did the binding spell backwards. So now he's the little girl, and he's a demon lord that's a little girl. And I love this book a lot and eagerly await volume 2. It's a one and done, but it can be easily it could easily be continued. So I hope it's successful. Here they are solving the mystery of here they're all solving the mystery of the groom who vanished at the wedding, and they ate all the cake and champagne. And it turns out the groom wasn't such a good guy after all. Even though he got possessed by a demon. The demon fed on sympathy or emotions and gave him money all the time, and they reversed the spell, and all the money disappeared, and the woman said, forget you, I'm not into you. And so it's very empowering, and it's 2 powerful exorcisters, and I loved it all the way, and I highly, highly recommend this book. I think you'd love it, and I think the readers would love it too.
That sounds wonderful. I'm going to check that out. Maybe tonight.
I think you dig it. The art is really fun, and there's all kinds of violence and mayhem, and it's really great.
Everything you need in a book, right?
Yeah. Plus powerful women casting spells and things and drinking your booze.
That sounds wonderful. Perfect. All right. I read it. This is the shortest book I read in this stack. It is so tiny. But I got to talk about it. Look at how little that is. It is such a baby. Also, it's like smaller than our average trade. And it's another Stranger Things book, guys. This one just came out.
Oh.
It is Stranger Things Dombey Boy, written by Greg Pak.
Ooh, he's good.
Yeah, and this was fun. This was really fun. So this is set between... this is a drawing that Will did. So it's not the art throughout this. But set between season 1 and 2. And it is a short, quick read. But it was a super fun time. So if you like Stranger Things, you want more of the main cast. This isn't like an offshoot. It's the main cast. I think you'll enjoy this. Because I really did. There's a new kid at school. This kid. And he loves making movies. So he comes to AV Club, where all of the boys that we know and enjoy are at. And he wants to do a movie with them. Because he found a drawing that Will dropped. Which is what is at the... Actually, that's not what's at the beginning. I don't know. He drew... Maybe I can find it. Yeah. He comes up with this drawing that he found that Will did of Will as a zombie. And there's some, people he ate in the background. So Will's dealing with that because he's like, oh no, I was in the Upside Down. I'm dealing with all of this stuff. Maybe I want to eat people. It's a whole thing. So his mom is concerned and takes him to get examined and make sure he's okay. And they're like, he's fine. It's fine. I guess I shouldn't give away the whole thing. It's very short. But they end up making this movie about Will being a zombie. And that's really, it's a short story. It's really just about that. Because Will is feeling like a zombie. So he's having to deal with that on camera. And of course, there's ramifications to that. Super quick read. Like I said, it's a small little trade. But it's Greg Pak. I enjoyed the art by whoever is doing this art. Who's doing this art?
Yeah, it looks good.
Valeria. All these names. I can't pronounce things. She was great. Okay, so the art's great. And the writing's wonderful. And again, if you just want a short, quick read, I believe this is on Hoopla. I got this from my library. It's a little baby. I can't really say more. I don't want to ruin the whole thing because it's so short, but it is totally worth your time. It is a super fun read. If you like the show, you're going to have a good time with this.
Okay, good. I just finished episode 3, so I still have, I don't know, 5 more to go on that. So I've been reading so many comic books that I need to watch some television or take a nap to do something.
Nap.
I've actually almost reached comic book burnout. I've read so much. I haven't got there yet, but
just within the week or like the day?
Past few days, like Thursday, I've just been consuming just so I have stuff to talk about on my channel and on this show.
Yeah.
There's the Collector. Hello, OmniDogs and OmniCats. How's it going, the Collector?
Hey.
I read a book that was 12 issues, and everybody in Omnibros has always recommended it to me, and Taylor Brown recommended it to me, and I've had it for 10 years and just haven't read it. And that is Warren Ellis's Nextwave Agents of Hate. And I read this today and loved it. It is so great. It features characters called the Captain and Tabby, who used to be Boom Boom, the greatest X-Force nickname, but she goes by Tabby in this book and catches grief for it. Monica Rambeau, Machine Man, and one of my favorites, Elsa Bloodstone. And they were a team put together by Hate to fight like extraterrestrial weapons of destruction that were going to destroy Earth. But then it turns out that Hate is offshoot of the main Bizarre Weapons of Mass Destruction. Okay, I'll just read the back. Put together to fight bizarre weapons of mass destruction. When Nextwave discovers that Hate and Beyond are terrorist cells themselves, and the BWMDs were intended to kill them, they are less than pleased. In fact, they are rather angry, so they make things explode, lots of things. And it is so great and so funny. It is just really, I didn't know Warren Ellis had such a great sense of humor, but the art is great. It's by Stuart Immonen, and it's got Monica Rambeau featuring her photon powers, and they take on all these manifestations. The first creature they battle is Fin Fang Foom. Let's see if I can get a picture of that. Here's a picture of Fin Fang Foom. He's the first weapon of mass destruction that this corporation's trying to unearth to destroy America. And so they go about trying to destroy all the things these guys are unearthing. And so it is really well written and really funny. I'm sorry it took me this long to read it. There's 12 issues in this complete collection, and it's so funny. How the Captain got his powers, like aliens landed on Earth, and he was just a regular drunk schlub in Brooklyn, and he just goes by the Captain. They gave him his powers. He bonked him on the head and then threw up on him, and it's just a riot of how things go. And Elsa Bloodstone is so great in this. Here's where the Captain gets his powers with the aliens. They show up hoping to give them to somebody who's going to be doing good with them, and he does. And Monica Rambeau's and Boom Boom are great. Elsa Bloodstone is of course great. I'm moving her up into Magic and Emma Frost territory as strong Marvel chicks that I really dig. Here's Elsa. They found a field where Hate grows these, or the Beyond Corporation grows these mindless vegetable men that are always attacking them, and they don't feel bad about killing because they're not really alive. They're alive like broccoli's alive, so they do their best to smite them all. And there's up here in the corner is a Sergeant Fury parody who created the team, and then they left him, and now he's out to get revenge. And he's always trying to kill himself, and he's kept alive by all these drugs, and he's always after them, and it's just great. This is a laugh riot, great, exciting book that is really well drawn and really well written, and I cannot recommend Nextwave Agents of Hate enough. It is fan-freaking-tastic, and I was really happy that I finally got a chance to read it. It is awesome. And it's 12 pages and super chunky, and it's still in print. So I highly recommend this Warren Ellis book.
I've been wanting to read that for a while. You're going to make me buy it, aren't you?
You
That's
will
what happens
love
on this
it.
show.
You will love it. And
I love a good funny thing.
Yeah, Larry brings up Warren Ellis' sense of humor in Transmetropolitan. That's a good point. I haven't read that in a while, but this thing is just a laugh riot. Here's a question for you from Lloyd Wong. Kristen, I know you're a fan of both, so I had to ask, but have you ever seen the Fall Out Boy video Sugar, We're Going Down? Does the video remind you of Sweet Tooth, or is it just me?
So a few things about this is funny. I love how you're like, I know you're a fan of both, when I've never mentioned Fall Out Boy, I think, ever on the internet. But I am a fan of Fall Out Boy. It's so fun.
Oh, weird.
I saw that video back when it came out, but now that I'm thinking about it, there were people with antlers and stuff, so I assume that's where you're going with that. I will rewatch it with that in mind. It's been a long time, but I can see how you're getting there. Funny. Well, here's a book that's not funny, but I loved it. And that is Lily the Thief. This is about a girl named Lily who's a thief.
Oh, well, it's well titled then.
All right, we're done. This is the second book. That's the reason I picked it up. Also, I like the cover. I will pick up anything from first second. I found this, I want to say before I get into it, in the children's section of the library, children's graphic novels, which I found and enjoyed a lot of first second books from there. However, this is full of death and murder and blood. So if you're at all like, oh, it's in the children's section, maybe I should get this for my kid, maybe you shouldn't. I mean, Lily, that's up to you, but Lily herself is a child. She's a little girl. It doesn't really go into her age. I don't know how old she is, but as the title suggests, she is a thief. She's really good at what she does. However, she's in the Thieves Guild, and they do not treat her like a serious thief. They're just like, oh yeah, we'll give you like a little measly job. Go steal like something that's not worth anything. And, you know, and she's great at what she does, and she does it well, but she just can't get the opportunity because they're like, oh, you're just a little girl and you're not going to do good and we're not going to take you seriously. So eventually she gets really fed up with that. She has a bad attitude, as you do. Yeah, which is great. So that's really fun. But she gets into scuffles, but she always gets out of them. And she is really good at the job she gets. So she gets tired of not getting the job she wants, though, like the bigger jobs. And she goes against all the guild rules and steals one of the jobs, like off the guild master's desk or whatever. And then she goes out on her own and gets into a mess. Oh, it's such a mess that I don't even want to go into it, but it's a big, deep mess, and it's a lot, and she has to kill people, which is also against the thieves' rules, and gets captured, and her mentor gets captured, and there's a lot of death and blood, like I said, and robbery, and grave robbery, which is also against the Thieves Guild. Like, so much happens. It's a crazy, wild adventure, but it's super fun. Like I said, like, her attitude is great. Like, she's really good at what she does. I won't call her, I guess she's a little badass. I could say that. She's a little badass. And she, you know, she gets the job done, and eventually, I won't give away the ending, but there's a huge adventure once she breaks out and steals that job and goes down a rabbit hole, and there's twists and turns and things that you won't expect. And I just had such a fun time with this. If you like a good action adventure, you like thievery, you like it's a bit of a period piece. It is such a fun time.
That sounds great.
But again, there's murder. She kills people. She stabs him with a sword, and then there's blood everywhere. So I don't know if, don't be like, oh, it's a children. Is it a children's book? I feel like I wouldn't have enjoyed this as a child because I'd be like, oh no, there's a lot of blood and death, and it's a lot. But as an adult, I very much enjoyed it, and the art's really nice. The colors are great, and you're gonna feel for her, and you're gonna like her because she has a bad attitude, and who doesn't like that?
I like it already.
Yeah, so this is really fun. I think you would enjoy this.
What period is it set in?
I couldn't figure that out. I don't know. I just know it's not modern times.
Okay.
They're wearing like certain clothing that makes you think, oh, like she's in this sort of clothing. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. They didn't say.
Okay.
And they're stealing gold and stuff. So it's like, oh, there's credit cards don't exist. That narrows it down.
They're not hackers, so
right.
Okay.
No Bitcoin.
Who puts that one out?
That is First Second.
Oh yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
Like a couple times.
Probably.
My next book is also by Warren Ellis with art by J.H. Williams. And it's one of those things that Warren Ellis didn't finish, but the book is 6 issues and a complete story. It is depraved, disturbing, and demoralizing. It's Desolation Jones. And of course, because it's all those things, I loved it. And I have to be careful what I can show because it deals with a guy who, well, of course, I'll read the back. Let me make sure what I show. Okay, this is fine. A former field agent for MI6, Michael Jones was the first surviving victim of the Desolation test, a radically dangerous procedure cooked up by the British government. Jones was intravenously kept alive while being force-fed a steady diet of horrific data and images nonstop as stimulants were continuously pumped into his body, keeping him conscious and alert for a solid year. Now retired from the agency, Jones lives in Los Angeles, acting as a PI to the secret underground community of ex-spooks who have come in from the cold and who have no one else to turn to. So he has lightning quick reflexes and some other abilities, and he's gotten a request from his from a guy he knows to help this old wretched guy who has Hitler porn tapes stolen from him.
Oh.
So
that's a good turn.
Being Los Angeles, of course, the capital of pornography, he goes down a road of looking for pornographers and purveyors of pornography. He has to deal with the old man's oldest daughter who's in the NSA, and he has a sidekick. He's got people out to, he's got various enemies that are out there. He goes to this woman first, whose name's Filthy, and she has like control of all the pornography in the Valley or in Los Angeles. And it's set up so these spooks can't leave Los Angeles. They're all set up in LA and they can't really leave. And he gets these visions all the time of these angels in Los Angeles floating around and trying to escape LA. And it could be right in the middle of a big battle with somebody, and he gets all of a sudden these hallucinations. That's part of his problem. So he, of course, this is a good mystery private investigator detective tale, and things aren't what they seem with the Hitler porn tapes. I don't want to spoil it, but it involves a missing younger sister and what the younger sister's after, and what's really on the videotapes that were stolen. It was a big reel-to-reel thing that was stolen. Let's see, I can't really show that. I can show this. The art is great by J.H. Williams III. So it's a great detective novel, but it's really raw and down and dirty. So that's just a warning about it. There's lots of good violence, of course, in it. He knows exactly how to take a person down with as fewest moves possible, and everybody's always telegraphing their moves, and he can counteract them. It's hard to kill him, even though people try to. And people try and beat him up to scare him off the case, as is usual in a PI type of novel or comic, which only makes him more determined to find out what is really going on. And it involves all his special abilities that he was given by MI6. And the art is particularly stunning in this book. You can see the good use of black and gray and white, and then a little red here. He has all kinds of contacts in the underground. If he beats somebody up, he calls a special ambulance to take care of them and has to pay money to get them carted off. This contains issues 1 through 6, and then 7 and 8 were written but never collected, and Ellis, being Ellis, left and never came back to finish the series, like he's done with Trees and some other things that he's famous for. Taylor Brown says he's got writer ADHD, and I sort of agree with that. I would like more Desolation Jones, and I'd like more Trees and things like that. But I highly recommend this book with the caveat that it is raw, and it is it reminds me of Robert Campbell's books, In La La Land We Trust, and some other things that Robert Campbell wrote, the mystery novelist who passed away in the 90s. It is, I think it's an excellent Warren Ellis book. Just beware that it is pretty raw, but it's fascinating and fast-paced and moves along nicely and is really interesting and fun. And I had a blast reading it. It just had, it was just, it just had some icky parts.
Sounds like a crazy ride.
It is a crazy ride. This has six issues in it. There are only 8 issues made, and 7 and 8. I didn't even know that until Taylor tracked them down. I don't know if he's going to get them, but I don't know what 7 and 8 are like. But this is 6. Screwler, we're talking about Desolation Jones. He said, I'm just joined in hearing In Control of All the Pornography and Hitler Porn. Yeah, it's Desolation Jones.
Well, I
follow that up.
All right. I got a chunky one.
Oh, good.
It's a good chunky one. The Plain Janes.
Ah.
This is art by Jim Rugg, which is why I even wanted to check this out. I love his art. And there's a foreword by Mariko Tamaki, who I adore.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You already know good people like this book. In the back as well, let's see, there was someone else that I loved. Tilly Walden blurbed it and loved it. So that means I'm going to love it.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
anyone who's a fan of any of them would also love this. So that was an easy heck yeah. So this book, it starts out, what you're seeing here, our main character, whose name is Jane. She is walking by a cafe when a bomb went off, and she deals with a lot of PTSD because of that. So she was part of this bombing that happened. Her parents moved them to another city because they were so afraid that, you know, something bad would happen to her. She's okay, but she had PTSD. She stayed with a guy who got his leg really hurt and took off her coat and like pressed against his leg until help happened. She pretty much saved his life. One good thing about this is she does struggle with PTSD throughout this book. Like a lot of, you know, books I've read, comic books especially, like things like that will happen, and then it's kind of never mentioned again, or every now and then they'll maybe deal with some issues because of it. A lot of things happen to her, and like she gets triggers and she goes to a therapist, and there's like follow up on it, which is really nice to see.
Okay.
Especially like she's a teenager, and this book is probably considered a young adult book, but she still deals with these issues, and it comes back around, which is cool. Because ultimately, that's not what the book's about, but it is. So it's really about this group of girls that she meets at her new high school, that they come together because they all love art and basically start a sort of vigilante street art group that they call Plain, which stands for People Loving Art in Neighborhoods. So they do this art on the street, and it's tame stuff, but you know it's on public property, so they tend to get in trouble. But you know they nobody knows who they are, but people start really liking the work, so they start doing this, and they come together, and you know they're kind of all outsiders. They're also all named Jane, so
they are.
All these girls are named Jane. So they're like losers of the school. So they start doing this street art, and it becomes like a really cool thing throughout the neighborhood. Jane, the main Jane, which they do call her Main Jane.
Main Jane, okay.
Main Jane, the one who was part of the bombing. She wanted to do this because she wanted to remember that there is beauty in the world, despite all of the terrible things that happen, like terrorist attacks and real life things that still happen to this, day, of course. That people are real life involved in, and she wanted to find the beauty in the world still, regardless of what is happening. And she went through this really terrible thing, but just wanted to like show people art and how great it is. There's like 3 different stories throughout this, and every story is like a different color tone, which cool. I liked. So this was kind of like a Valentine's Day story, so it's pink, but that's why there's an abrupt change here. So it's really, about this group and how their art develops. This leans heavy on art. So if you are an artist or you're at all interested in art, it goes deep into that and different sorts of art and Jane's development in that. And her relationships, the characters were so unique and so well done, and a lot of characters that I just haven't seen in comic books. That was really cool to see. So, I would say the characters were amazing. The development of the characters were so good. And, Mariko Tamaki, Tilly Walden, anyone who's fans of any of them would probably really enjoy this. And it's such a great story. So you have the really deep aspect of the bombing and all of that. Then you have more light stuff with the art and the stories throughout the high school. And it is just a really, really, really good time. So if you like any of those sort of books that I've mentioned, you're probably going to love this because I loved it. But and it's super chunky. It's over like about 400 something pages, nearly 500 pages.
Nice.
And it was wonderful.
Who puts that out?
I think I tried to figure this out as I read it. Little Brown. So it's a major publisher.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Nice. Freddie Alonso says, Kristen, Tilly, and Mariko like this? Buying.
Yeah.
So you sold a copy. Very good.
Mini buy. Awesome, Freddie. You'll love it.
Good. Here's a book I got from Vault Comics, and I'm loving lots and lots of stuff from Vault. They're a publisher that's putting out all kinds of interesting stuff. And the back of the book, I'm going to have to explain it more because there's a lot more going on in this book than just the back of the book, than what the back of the book says. It's called Sera and the Royal Stars. And it ends on a cliffhanger. This is just volume 1. But I was hooked, and I'm going to be getting the next one. I just saw it described in IST, and I said, this sounds interesting. I'll give it a shot. And it was really, really good. It's by 2 people I do not know. And I'm going to show you there. John Sui and Audrey Mock. John Sui is the writer. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it. Raul Angulo is the colorist. But it involves a royal princess. Let me highlight this. It involves a royal princess in a faraway land. It says, civil war rages in the empire of Parsa and famine is struck. As the seasons refuse to turn, Princess Sera receives a vision from the deity Mitra, telling her to find the royal stars and restore them to the heavens. Despite her kingdom and her troops' need of her command, Sera embarks on a quest to find the fallen stars and save her people from dearth and death. And Mitra places a gemstone in her heart, Sera's heart, at this point in the book, and that gives her special powers. She's an expert archer, and she is fearless and courageous, and so she sets out with the clues she's been given to try and save her people from the famine that has struck them and the evil. They're at war with another clan of people that is the king's brother, and the king's brother eventually captures the kingdom but lets Sera go because he believes her, and she finally finds this confused old man at this sort of shrine where she's set upon by living lizards and stuff. But then he remembers that he is called the Bull, and he's a main character in this book. He's one of the living stars that she needs to, one of the fallen stars rather. He becomes a living star, I think, here. And she's joined. The art is really well done, and they are joined on their quest at various times by various magical beings that help them. Here, and here are two evil ones that are the main antagonists. They want darkness to fall upon the world and to be able to take over the kingdoms. And they are joined by a warrior woman who has magical abilities, and they fight various creatures, airborne and not, and on land. Then they are joined by an underwater goddess or god. They get sent to the afterlife and have to petition to get out of the afterlife. She's lost her mother. Her mother was a chosen one to try and fight, but got lost. And here they meet another living star that she's going to help restore, that eventually will help restore peace to the land. And she's helped on her quest by all these interesting magical beings and the underworld, and meets up with her mother, and her brother's dead but comes in the underworld to save her when she gets tricked into thinking that some things are real. And a big part of the book is they're trying to get out of the afterlife. They're petitioning the council of the afterlife here to get out of it, and she has to create a tunnel to escape and pull the others out, and it turns out she pulls them out through the water. And I don't want to get into too much more because it'll spoil it, but this is a rocking fantasy that I really enjoyed, and this is a great comic from Vault. And I can't wait for book 2 to find out how it all gets resolved, or maybe it'll be 2 or 3 or 4 books. But the art's fantastic, the coloring's fantastic, and I just dug this book a lot. Again, it's from Vault Comics, and it's called Sera and the Royal Stars, and I think everybody should check it out if you're into fantasy at all. I really dug it and think you should see it too.
That cover alone is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is the book I think you'd really dig.
I'm going to read it. It's going to happen.
Good.
And this book, I think you've already read, but I'm not positive. I can't remember. It's Greg Rucka.
Okay.
I'm late to the game.
That's cool, as long as you show
I'm
up.
going right into it because I'm stoked. Stumptown?
It's one of the few books I haven't read of his.
What are you waiting on? What are you waiting on? I thought I was late. Now you're really late.
We're going to be reviewing it for Crime Corner in February.
Good. Okay. I'll be ready because I'm burning through these.
I heard it's great.
Oh, I mean, not that I need to tell anyone. I feel like everyone already knows because it's Greg Rucka. But Stumptown, it's about main characters. Dex, she's a PI. She's badass. She's no nonsense. I love her so much. She makes me so happy. Like every volume is a different case that she does. So I feel like I can't even really describe the cases to you because they're all different in their own way and they're all fantastic. So if you love crime books, you love Greg Rucka, I could read 100 more of these. I need more of it. I know there are 4 volumes. I've read 2 of them right now. And I'm wondering, people in the chat who probably know way more than me, are there more coming? Is it done? What's happening? I know with the popularity of the TV show, I would hope they're going to revisit it if they don't already plan to. I'm upset to even look because I love it so much that I'm just like, I don't want it to end yet. Now I'm going to have to watch the TV show, which I hear is great.
Oh, good. It's on ABC, right?
It's on ABC. I work at an ABC affiliate, so I see commercials all the time. And now that I've read some of it, I'm like, oh yeah, she seems totally like Dex. So, Colby Smulders, love her. I feel like
Colby Smulders is her. She's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, even from this art, and you think about Colby, you can see it.
Yeah, totally.
And she's the best. But let's see. Does anybody know? Anybody know if there's going to be more Beyond the 4? I'll go through this. What's interesting is I got these from the library. This first volume, I guess it's a reprint because they got that ABC sticker, right? Glossy pages. Okay. But the second volume, which they got in hardcover, matte pages. Who makes these decisions? I don't know. So that's weird. But also love the second volume. Yeah, I don't even want to go into the cases because they're so twisty and turny and you're just going to love it. This volume, the second volume, is about a stolen guitar from this famous guitarist in this band that she has to find the guitar. And it, of course, becomes about something else totally crazy and crime. Just so much crime and twisties and turnies. And again, I don't think I need to say more. Just if you're into that, you're going to love it. And it's so good. And I love it so much. So now I have to go buy these. Great. Yeah, thanks, Greg Rucka. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the few Greg Rucka books I haven't read. But yeah, it's coming up on Crime Corner. Let's see. In February, I have a schedule here. So it's sometime in February. Probably.
Nice.
I don't know. I'll do it when Taylor tells me to read it. He's the boss.
He's the boss.
Even though it's my channel, he's the boss.
I wondered if you had or hadn't, because I was like, well, it's Greg Rucka, but I don't remember you talking about it. So,
right.
But I feel like I don't even want to say anything. Just she's a PI. She solves crimes. It's so good. Just, she gets into scuffles, and it's great.
She kicks major butt.
Major butt. The most butt. Yeah, it's
nice.
Awesome.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah, you're gonna love everything about it. Not that you don't already know, but you will.
Awesome. I am looking forward to it. Larry says no more plan, but Rucka hasn't closed the door.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah. My last book is a book that Faria did not like, but I liked, and it's Invisible Woman by Mark Waid, with great covers by Adam Hughes. And I liked this book a lot. It involves Sue Storm as a spy, and I think it's a really well done spy comic book. I enjoyed it. The art is really well done. This book is called Partners in Crime. The art is well done. It shows a side of Sue Storm we never generally see, and not mother, wife. She does use her Invisible Woman powers a lot in the spy field. She joins up with Black Widow on a mission to find her ex-partner when she first did spy work. And, of course, things go pear-shaped from there, but Black Widow's in it, so it's really cool. I love Black Widow, so Black Widow and Sue Storm are a perfect team. It's very thin. It's only 4 issues. But it's a rollicking spy adventure, and I thought it was really well done by Mark Waid. And it's also very twisty and turny, and you don't know who to trust, and you don't know what's going on. She can alter her appearance in this by using some secrets that her daughter taught her. So she is stunning looking, going in and trying to spy on a major painting. There's a painting that's very famous, and she alters her appearance, her hair appearance, and goes in, and the painting goes missing, and that leads to the heart of the story. Major spy hijinks ensue, and I just thought it was really well done. Maria Hill makes an appearance, and I just really enjoyed this book. She turns invisible a lot, makes things invisible a lot, uses her force field a lot, but uses her brains even more. She figures things out, and I like how he made her a strong, smart woman, not just reliant on her powers. She uses her brain a lot too. So this is an excellent spy comic. Invisible Woman by Mark Waid, Partners in Crime. And yes, I'm a sucker for the Adam Hughes cover, but it's also really well done. So I recommend that. I highly recommend Invisible Woman.
You said it was Mark Waid, right?
Mark Waid, yeah. Your Weight of Honor.
Anything he does. Yeah, my Weight of Honor. We're tight.
Yeah. Freddie Alonso says, everyone but Kristen bosses you on your various shows, LMAO.
I got to get with it.
Yeah, you need to start pushing me around and setting the agenda. Do you have anything else?
Oh, that's my 5. I did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this has been great. This has been the OmniDog and OmniCat comic book review show. Hopefully we have exposed you to some books you may not otherwise have been exposed to. I know I'm always excited to see what Kristen's read, because she is the queen of the indies, and I love those books. Are fangirls doing anything soon?
Yes, tomorrow we are going to have our hauls and reads. As always, please follow us on Twitter at Fangirls with a Z Live. Fangirls Live. We update you there if we ever have to move the show, which sometimes does happen. So, but it should be hauls and reads. So we'll talk about what we hauled and what we read. And I want to say thank you to Tasty Melon, who said if they had to guess, they've only heard of 7% of the books I recommend, and that's why they watch the show. So thank you for that.
Good.
I hope I expand your comic world.
Yeah, that's exactly what we try to do, is show you some stuff that you may not already have read. And T2 Fawn, I forget what the problem was she had with it. I didn't have the problem. Whatever Priya's problem was with it, I didn't have it. She and I have differing tastes in certain books, and I respect that completely on her part. We just sometimes don't agree on books, and that's the way it goes. They're all subjective.
Such as comic life, right?
Such as comic life. So please like, subscribe, and comment. We always answer your comments. And thank you for watching. Thank you to the chat for chatting. We really appreciate it. And peace and love. Peace and love.
Bye, everyone.